Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Don't Tell Me How to Fan. My name is Josh Albrecht, and I am with my good friend, John Taylor. Hi, John. How are you?
Bad, Josh.
Oh, why, John?
Well, because the not a single Wisconsin sport has won a game since we recorded.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
well, Brewers are currently leading the first time this season,
Hey,
and that's
that's
exciting.
good.
But yeah, what a rough week for Wisconsin sports since we spoke last.
Yeah. Let's start with just really quick because I'm not gonna lie, I don't want to talk a ton of Bucks here, but it happened before opening day, so we have to. I was kiddo spring break. We were in Disney, of course,
Mhm.
and I just all the text messages, all the news that Dame is out, and I'm like, oh boy, of course, this injury bug. All right, for how long? Indefinitely.
Indefinitely. I
Oh,
mean, yeah,
oh, okay.
yeah,
What?
yeah. He got diagnosed with deep vein thrombosis in his calf. I'm not a doctor, but what I
A
glean is
blood
that
clot.
is
Yeah,
that's a very serious blood clot. That will left untreated is, I
can be
think a heart
fatal.
attack is a silent killer, but this is one of those silent killer things. So it's really important. It can be treated now that it's been diagnosed, but the other issue is that it is very dangerous to do anything on that level of blood thinners that could cause any sort of bodily harm because then your body can't handle that trauma
Mhm.
or heal whatever's going on. So
It's just the craziest. Like obviously, it's the right call, right? Like you can't. Yeah,
mhm,
that's got to. I mean, that's what's got to happen. It's just insane what has happened to these Bucks teams
yeah,
during crunch time with injuries. It's just whether it was Giannis or someone else with it. Now Dame. I mean, literally leading up through all the frustration, we weren't feeling good about this Bucks team as it was down the
yeah,
stretch.
yeah.
But then it was just, hey, it's still Dame and Giannis in the playoffs.
Mhm.
I think you literally said that last week.
Yeah, I said, I still like our chances. I mean,
Mm.
we're at a spot where I just hope this doesn't force Damian Lillard into retirement. You know what I mean? People have
It very well could.
called it a career off of this. He was very vocal, or a statement released by I don't remember who, but anyways, there was a statement he was saying, like the Bucks have been great. I gotta think. I'm a father and I have children, and I need to think of my family first and foremost. And you do, it's a sobering reminder that as much as we all love sports and we take it all seriously, it's like these are human beings. Like Dame absolutely needs to take care of the health of himself and obviously be there for his family. But man, is it a punch in the gut when you
Right.
compound that with the fact that Sims underwent thumb surgery like a week before. Bobby's
Mhm.
still serving this suspension. Um, it's just kind of like
And they
we were,
weren't clicking as it is.
yeah,
It's not like they were the hottest team in the NBA and then the injury bug came. They
yeah,
were already facing adversity in just trying to make things work with everyone they had available.
yeah,
And now it's just really rough. But that's okay, right? Because even though things aren't great in the NBA, baseball's back, right? Baseball started, and we can talk about that. Last week, Thursday, was the
yeah.
start of baseball. I'm not going to say it's opening day because to me, opening day is an event that happens where you get to go to a baseball game. The Brewers, for what seems like the 30th year in a row, started on the road
In New
uh,
York.
in New York, and so that was their
Mhm.
opening day, not ours. And they got demolished.
Well, they only gave up 15 home runs,
Yeah, that's all.
right? Or it might have been more than that. It's some absurd number.
It
Um,
was it was ridiculous. The whole series was ridiculous. They got their asses handed to them time and time again.
mhm.
And then this news comes out about the torpedo bat.
Yep.
Okay. I'd like to talk about the
Yeah,
torpedo
let's
bat
talk.
if I
Let's talk
can.
torpedo bat.
So everyone's going, well, that's not fair. Of course it's fair. If it wasn't fair, they wouldn't be allowed to do it.
Hmm.
Okay. My question is, why are they the only ones that did it?
That is a
And
great question.
more importantly, if they're the only ones doing it, it's not like there was someone for the Yankees who realized torpedo bat solve all problems and no other MLB team was made aware that these bats existed, that they could be used, any of
Mhm.
this. They just happen, at least to the best of my knowledge, they just happen to be the team that were trying them. Okay, fine. So it's the Yankees. The Yankees suck. They do this thing with these torpedo bats. I want to blame the torpedo bat. Of course I do. Look, we had good expectations for this team. All right.
Yep.
Now, Monday, opening day, American Family Field. I'm there. Did make sure I did not miss opening day. They get rocked by the Royals.
Yeah.
11-1. Best of my knowledge, they don't use torpedo bats, right?
I don't believe the Kansas City Royals used torpedo bats.
Oh, okay. So maybe it's not the torpedo bat.
Yeah.
Now, I will say that I don't know what the Yankees have done since they clobbered the Brewers with said torpedo bats.
Let me check real quick.
They might be beating the next teams 14-1. If they are, then you're going to see things change real quick. But I'm not going to say that it's.
Yeah, I mean, well, we're kind of glazing over some of. They're 3-0, so this is their first. They're up 4-2 against the Diamondbacks on their fourth game of the series or season. We're glossing over some pretty important things to discuss about this Brewers team, which is the fact that we can't have our top four guys go 0 for 20 to start the season in the first game. And be producing at an all-time dog shit level. We can't have our new starting pitcher who made the Devin Williams trade palatable give up 5 home runs and 5 walks for the first time since 1949.
Yeah.
We can't have our already injured pitching staff just get rocked and pitch poorly. There's just a lot of confluence. The biggest thing that is frustrating about this Brewer season is you can't. Somebody said it on the broadcast yesterday, and you wouldn't have heard this because you were at the game, but they said you can't win a title in April, but you sure as shit can lose it. They didn't say sure as shit. It was a broadcast. But it's true. They're putting themselves in a position to be wildly behind the 8 ball when the only competent pitchers that they have right now who can pitch are Freddie Peralta, assuming Nestor Cortez with an all-time flub. There's no reason to think that this couldn't be, but there's some genuine pitching concerns. Like there's been some velo concerns about some of the pitching, the speeds. If some of the guys that we brought back are not going to be able to perform at the same level they did last year, the pitching staff's going to be a problem. And our offense is just not in a way. We were trying to just figure out a way to replace Willie's production. We can't all of a sudden assume this team is going to produce at a level that will cover 5 earned runs every single game. Like, these can't look like football scores and expect to be on the other side of you winning most of them. It's just like, that's not this team,
right.
They don't have that kind of power anywhere, short of like maybe Reese figuring it out. But
it's,
I don't know.
You're right about that. You are right about that. Look, my overarching rule, and one of the reasons why I love baseball, and back when I was on the radio, people used to quote the one time I said, baseball may be boring, but it happens a lot. I enjoy the fact that it happens a lot.
Mm-hmm.
For someone with anxiety, it's really good because Packer games, there's 16 to 17 regular season, 17 regular games. You lose the first one, you're already freaking out.
Yeah.
There's 162 baseball games.
Mm-hmm.
And
losing the first 4 games to AL teams statistically means next to almost nothing, in a few months. For me, like I said, it's concerning just thinking about the roster of this team. Who did we send somebody to?
Mark Hanna.
Savali. No, Aaron Savali after his pitch got put on didn't he get put on IL?
He might have.
Yeah, he got put on the 10-day injured list. Either way, he was one of the only other guys that when I was listing pitchers, I stopped at Nestor because he's not there. And now we're starting. Chad Patrick's pitching for us right now. We had Elvin Rodriguez yesterday, which was like a last do it signing. I mean, you hope Woodruff's going to come back. You hope Ashby comes back and he can maybe figure out how to be a starter on this team. We signed Jose Quintana to a $5 million deal. And it's like, were we really being so scrupulous on the dollar amounts or the contract details that he got a full like a month into spring training before he got signed, which delays his return? Like, it's just, I don't know. It's just, we didn't do ourselves any favors, I guess is my point. We could have, I'm not saying they should have spent a fuck ton more money, sorry for my language, or done a bunch of other things, but ultimately they didn't do enough to just protect the roster they wanted to roll out. And that is frustrating to me. But we'll see. Jackson Chourio hopefully comes out of it a little bit. They started we got leadoff Bryce tonight. That feels good to me.
Look, I'm going to be the first one. I can't believe I'm saying this. Okay. And I'm not trying to tell you how to fan. Okay. I am not telling you how to fan.
Okay.
This is tonight's game on April Fool's Day of all days is the first game that fans should legitimately be worried about and looking at the scores and worrying about the statistics and everything. The stuff that happens before opening day, I don't even count as baseball. The season doesn't start until opening day in Milwaukee. Okay. On top of that, opening day is a celebration of baseball being back. It has nothing to do with the game. Today is when you start focusing on what's happening on the field, judging players, looking at all this. So I get you can lose it in April, but it's going to just delay
for sure.
Delay the anxiety. Just delay it a little bit.
I don't have anxiety, Josh.
I know. I'm talking to everybody here. I'm just saying like it's not
all right.
Because you brought up a lot of what people are saying already. People are talking right now as if it's the All-Star break. Yeah. And I'm like, okay. All right. Even for me, let's pump the brakes.
Yeah, it's for sure not that. I just think like when we talk about it's not fun as a fan to see things that over the offseason you go, oh, I wonder why or what's going to happen if they can't make this work, and to see it so severely not work in such a demonstrative way by way of like that little league field in New York, I mean, those two excuse me homers for Freddie, it sucked because I think by and large he brought it back in, reeled it back in. We'll see. It's just like you said, there's so much baseball left. So we'll find out. And honestly, if you look at the box score, I mean, granted they were blowouts, but the Brewers were hitting. It's not like they didn't get blanked in all of these in terms of like they're getting hits, they're getting on base. So it's like, this is what I was telling a buddy of mine, is I think Kukta just said the Brewers suck after like the weekend. And I get why you feel that way. That's our buddy Josh. But in a different message, I just messaged him. I was like, you're talking about the team that won the entire AL last year and almost won the World Series. Like, we're not talking about the Chicago Whites. This isn't just some like off AL opponent. We're talking about one of the top, like what, 3 best rosters in the league. Like,
yeah, I mean, I get the feeling of that, not just based on the losses, but based on the type of, I mean, there were memes being made about how bad that series was.
Yes.
I had friends that don't live in the state that aren't Brewers fans texting me and saying, you okay? That was rough.
Yeah.
So like, I get it. I get it.
Yeah. Stumbling out the gate is not fun.
What I'm saying is every point that people have been making about the Brewers through 4 games is valid. All valid points based on the information you watched. I'm just saying that was preseason baseball. Don't care about those 4 games. They didn't matter. Now the games matter. If anyone texted me tonight, if the Brewers lose tonight for the same reasons, I would be like, okay, now I will listen and understand. We've reached that point in the caring process. And, knock on all of the wood. You mentioned the Brewers have their first lead of the season.
Yeah.
In the first game that matters. So that's a positive sign.
Yeah.
And we'll see where things go from there.
I have a fun trivia fact.
Ooh.
It's a little statty. Do you know Do you know how many games the Brewers won in 2008 after starting 0-4? Or maybe it was 2011. It was one of those dates. 2011, I think it was what it was.
How many games did they win in 2011? 97.
It's 96.
Ah,
But that still
okay.
firmly puts us above that 90 win mark, which we both agreed was probably going to be enough to put us as winners back in the NL Central. So, it happens. Like you said, there's so much of it. Baseball might be boring, but there sure is a lot of it. I don't know if that's what your quote was or your sentiment.
It happens
was,
a lot. That's
it does. It happens a lot. It's they're going to keep playing games, and there's plenty of things that they can adjust and figure out. And you can very easily look to lack of production from your best players, especially on the offensive side. But like you said, at the end of the day, like it's just hard to really put a lot of that into context when you're just getting beat down by what is the equivalent of the dark side of Star Wars. That's like the Yankees. So, but it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It truly just is. It just is fine. I don't know.
It will be fine.
It will be fine
for now. Maybe not next week.
Maybe not next week.
It'll be fine.
Big thing I think is just it's just taking the time to earmark these things. It doesn't matter yet, but in 3 months, if these are consistent problems, we go, this has been happening all the way since the beginning, and we can't just ignore that. There's some priors here we can confirm later in the season, and I don't want to confirm those priors later in the season. It just is the way it is. So
here's the other thing too. Murph has earned a little bit of patience. Okay, First of all, first Brewers NL Manager of the Year. Okay,
yeah,
go there. Second of all, he did it with a bag of beans. He did it with all the different, this guy's out, so this guy's pitching. This guy's out, so this guy's batting. All of that. So, yes, they're going through an injury bug right away in the beginning of the season. Not great. But I feel like if there was one manager who's going to figure out a way to get through the first, 10, 15 games without having it completely crap the bed, it's going to be Murph. I could be wrong, but got him and at least give him a chance.
You got to give him at least a chance.
Right. So we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see how that goes.
Yeah. The lineup will look significantly more different once Savali is off his IL stint. Quintana's back. We get Ashby back in the rotation if that's the way we go. And obviously Woodruff making its major league return for the first time in over a year. These are all positive things that, we could, we'll say, hey, before this, maybe that was an issue. Before, maybe not. I mean, Abner Uribe's suspension is technically up and lifted now too, so that's another great arm. So, we can play that middle reliever game if we have to, if these games are a little more competitive in the beginning. That's another thing that Brewers have always done great is like our middle relievers and our closers have always been better than most pitching staffs, which is what makes the Brewers pitching staff so valuable. So what do our inning eaters look like this season? There's just so much games left, like you said, where we can kind of get a better idea of sifting through what's noise and what isn't. There's a lot of small sample sizes that obviously are not going to be in the Brewers' favors, but it's way too early to be making declarative statements that like the season is done, like just laughably so. They,
right.
So
give it some time.
So hopefully this is Nestor's one big, shit the bed moment, and then maybe he's nails the rest of the year. Maybe he's not, but we'll see. We'll find out. It's not the production I'm worried about. Like I said, it's mostly about making sure the mechanics are correct. They had all off season to get this stuff kind of worked out and figured out. So, but we still need more. We still need more sample size either way. One start isn't going to confirm or deny that either way. So it's all good. I'm glad Abner's back. He was pitching super well in spring training. I mean, that's another guy. If his control gets sorted and he's a little more dialed, 2 years ago he was the clear heir apparent to the closing role. And then Trevor McGill was also just like equally as big and could throw equally as hard. But I mean, there's a lot of really interesting prospects. I think at some point, hopefully we see Craig Yoho. So, there's a lot of levers the Brewers can still pull. It's just way too early to start pulling them, period. So,
very true.
Like you said. So, any fun anecdotes from opening day? See any old pals run into any former colleagues?
I hung out with my buddy Brian Wolf, watcher of the show and listener, was nice enough to include me in the plans. I did run into Armin Sarian for a little bit. I will say that opening day this year seemed, and this might be just because of the pitch clock, the game's now going faster. It was also because, we all wanted to be in our seats for the Euchre
Yeah, I was gonna ask
tribute.
if how that
So
tribute was. Yeah,
there wasn't as much of the, hey, welcome back. How was your summer kind of conversations with friends. It was kind of, all right, hey, we're finally in. Get to your seat. We can't miss this. I thought that the tribute was pretty good.
yeah.
Um, I know a few
Well,
people.
what was it exactly before
So
you
so
say how?
it showed
Yeah.
some highlights, and it included like um, a voiceover, not of him. Uh, not um, it was not Bob, like clips of Bob.
Hmm.
And I think that was one of the things that a lot of people were kind of against,
Hmm.
was that they wanted more of that. I know that that was a big thing for Brian, and a few other people were saying that. But sorry, to answer your question, it was Jeff Levering was our friend Jeff Levering was the one that I believe had
Hmm.
the voiceover talking about Bob when they showed clips, and it was a very nice tribute that they did, showing different things. And then they did do the one clip where he said, I must be in the front row, but um, they could have peppered in a ton of stuff from movies and from Major League and just from a bunch of different stuff, and there wasn't on as much of that as I think I would have wanted. And especially knowing how the game was going, I think we would have all loved for them to just keep doing that, like bring our spirits back, because in that game they were down 4-0 in the first top of the first, excuse me,
Yeah.
top of the first. So load some clips, have us talk about Uke again.
Yeah.
So that was the only thing that was a little unfortunate,
Yeah.
but overall it was still a very good tribute, and
Yeah.
a
Does this
ton of people
does
wearing Uke stuff, by
of
the way.
course. That's awesome. That hopefully that happens all season.
Agreed.
Honestly, hopefully it happens all decade.
Yeah.
It was really cool. I randomly, say whatever you want about the old X machine. Somebody was talking about when Joe Buck in I forget which playoff series just kind of like brought in Bob Euchre and then
Yeah.
left the booth and let Euchre call a nationally televised like Brewers playoff game. And it's like he was just recalling how special that was and how he knew there was no way Bob would ever do that or like take the shine in that way. So he knew he had to leave. And he was just like, him and my dad were like tremendous friends. And he was like a fantastic friend to me. And, just like a really nice. And it's just like, yeah, you forget that, like, we talked about it on the episode, the time after he passed, you do talk about how much like the world loved Bob Uecker, even past like the Brewers and stuff like that. But I mean, he really did, rub elbows with the broadcasting elite, and to just be a regional Brewers broadcaster and to have everyone
Oh.
speak so highly of him. It's just great. I just like those tributes are going to keep happening every time
Mhm.
the Brewers are somewhere, basically you could tune in probably to every away broadcast at the start of a series if it's like the first time playing this year, and you're going to see Euchre stuff, and that's awesome. I mean, there's no reason not to. It's like, unfortunately, this like his passing will be the first time a lot of these fans who maybe aren't familiar with the Brewers or his broadcasting are going to be hearing him for the first time, and it's like it's
Mhm.
a shame that it's too late. But what a joy it'll be to even just see those packages at a time. I was curious what you think in person. How cool does his signature look in the outfield?
It wasn't. I mean, it looked cool. It wasn't as prominent as like, especially like I saw photos of it, and
Yeah.
like the drone video looked way cooler than like what you could kind of tell in
Hmm.
person. I also saw they like ripped out like a huge part of the upper deck um, seats that I'm
Mm.
assuming they're planning for some project, but they have a huge banner over it that says "I must be in the front row," as like a tribute to Uke. I mean, that's the thing, right? Is that like the reason why Euchre was so special was because he was a megastar in what he did.
Right.
Like when you're so good at what you do, that's still what you're known for, but you're known for it on a national level. That is like next level, and especially for small market Milwaukee, we're so used to those people leaving, right? Milwaukee is a stepping stone. Whether you started here or you had to stop here, you usually don't stay here. And Bob did, and he loved it. Like, it was just like, that was the whole thing, is that we got to know him on this level, but everyone else out there still knew him.
Yeah.
And so I agree with you. I think, and that's why it was so hard, because what the Brewers did was great, and they're in such a tough spot because I truly don't think there's enough. No matter what they do,
Yeah.
I'm still going to want more. I'm going to want more tributes to the man. And
Yeah.
that's asking for a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, you never know. Hopefully they're working on something too. It's like, now that they'll have more access to these players too, it's like they might be able to build like a deeper catalog. There'll definitely be a documentary or something about his life.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, it could be a movie for all I know. It's like he lived such a fantastical life in like the best way.
Agreed. I will say one thing. I thought it was a little strange that and I get that it's hard to whip something together quick, but the fact that none of the giveaways that were announced for the season have anything to do with Euchre had me confused. Because they've done so many Bob Uecker things in the past when the man was alive. I mean, they had Bob Uecker in his radio outfit. They had Bob Uecker in his Braves outfit. They had Bob Uecker alarm clocks. They had Bob Uecker talking bobbleheads. They had Bob Uecker Major League talking Harry Doyle bobbleheads.
Yeah.
They had everything.
I'm sure
they had a bottle opener.
Yeah.
They had a bottle opener that would say a Bob Uecker thing when you opened a bottle.
Yep.
Nuts.
If they comb through all the Goodwills in Wisconsin, I'm sure they got enough for the first 10,000 fans coming through the gate. You know what I mean?
You're probably right.
They've done
You're
enough
not wrong.
previous stuff, but you never know.
I'm assuming that they will figure out a way. They're probably already working on something, but they just couldn't get it done yet.
Yeah.
So hopefully, I'm expecting that'll happen soon.
Yeah, but definitely. There's a cribbage board I need you to go get me.
Oh, cribbage! Yeah, the cribbage board.
The cribbage board looks sick. That's one I definitely want. What's up?
You big cribbage guy?
I got a cribbage tattoo, my guy.
Get out of here!
Can I show? Look.
Yeah.
Here, yeah. That's a cribbage hand. Oh, there it is.
Wow! Look at you.
It's a perfect cribbage hand. Five. 4 5s and the jack to match the suit for knobs. 29. It's the perfect cribbage hand. Yeah, I love cribbage. Big fan.
Wow.
We just never. We were too young and doing other things to really play such a boring adult game.
Yeah. But you found it.
There's nothing, dude. There's nothing better. I used to do it with my buddy Steven when he lived in Portland here. I'd go over to his house. We would make coffee and we would like listen to baseball. Or watch baseball and play cribbage on his patio. It was awesome.
Yeah.
Perfect old man event, So anyways, I want that cribbage board.
Cribbage board. Got it.
Putting it in the universe.
Yes. So. I love it. So anyway, we will continue to watch and enjoy this season because we have to. That's I feel like in a lot of ways the lesson of mourning with the loss of Uke is a symbol of what you have to do in any situation in which you can't control it. Right? You just got to sit back and still enjoy it. And so, the fact that the team hasn't won a game yet does suck, but it's 4 games. We're in the 5th, and this is the first one that counts. And let's just enjoy it and get ready for summer and baseball. I will say that when we got off the shuttle bus from Natty Oaks, and immediately I started getting the waft of the brat, and the grills. And I was just like, oh, yes.
Baseball's back, baby.
Baseball is back. This is
Baseball's
fantastic.
We're
such a baseball city. We so are. It's great.
Yeah.
All right. Hard pivot, if I can, before we end things here.
Yeah. While you pivot, give me 1 second. I'm going to walk off camera. Keep talking.
Okay. I'm gonna talk. I'm talking now. No. We're going to talk about some WWE news here. So for everyone that's like, wrestling, first of all, the Bucks are not fun to talk about. I want to talk about them. we just got done talking about baseball, and also it's not like that's been super great, so we're going to keep talking about it. But there we go. So we're going to talk about some WWE and some news here as we get closer to WrestleMania. The main thing that I want to talk about was this yesterday's episode of Monday Night Raw in London, jolly old London, where they had John Cena and Cody Rhodes start the show. And I'm officially going to say it, John. It's not working.
I could not disagree with you more, but fair enough.
John Cena as a bad guy isn't working. They're not, if they are doing something truly to build his character, they're not doing it fast enough. It's boring. I'm wanting him, push me. Show me truly that you're this bad guy. I'm not feeling it. And then on top of that, I feel like in every promo, it's way more just about Cody. Like they need to help Cody really get over more against Cena in these verbal battles. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, yeah, I get it. He's the face, he's the heel. But show me he's the heel. I want to see John Cena spit in the face of a fan and then beat the crap out of Cody Rhodes. Like bad. I want to see him do something bad. I'm talking Kevin Nash throwing Rey Mysterio into the side of a semi trailer and then spray paint NWO on his back. Bad. Like, I want to see some of that stuff. This mopey, you're just as bad as these fans. No one, that's like level 1 heel crap. You know, that's you come out and you're in Green Bay, and so you take a Brett Favre jersey in the 90s and you rub it in your armpits and throw it on the ground and you step on it and all the fans go, boo, screw you, man. Like, that's on the same level of that. If you're going to make the biggest face in the history of wrestling into a heel, you got to go all in. Make us hate him. And then some people are going to hate him in a cool way, like they did with NWO. None of that is happening right now. It's just a wait. I'm just waiting, and I'm not the juice. There's no juice from this squeeze.
Yeah, man, that's your opinion. I could not feel any more differently about it.
You're
I
wrong,
think,
but tell me
I'm
why.
not wrong. You can't tell me how to fan, even in
Okay.
scripted sports entertainment.
Okay.
This last week was very clearly John Cena started it, but it was absolutely that was a Cody Rhodes promo. That was their first. That was Cody Rhodes' first real crack at addressing a lot of what was said about him in the previous promos. It did come to blows a little bit, and it came with Cody being the upper hand. I think they're trying to thread. Well, I think they're trying to thread two things here. I think the biggest thing they're trying to thread is this idea that John Cena is trying to play a heel that he specifically does not want to satisfy the WWE universe. And I don't think it's him. I think the writing, and I think it's the right way to do it because they've wanted him to turn heel for so long. It can't turn cool. The whole thing about Cena turning heel is he can't get over quickly. And I think if he does a lot of those heel things you're talking about, he gets over with the fans and then it loses a lot of juice. They want this turn to mean something and not mean something as in, oh, finally we get to see a version of Cena that we like. A version of telling a story where Cena, the people's, it's not the people's champ, that's The Rock, but you get my point. The poster child, the number one guy in the WWE for so long, has turned his back on those people. I mean, last week when he said he wanted to retire with the belt, I thought that promo was great. I just think they're specifically trying to make it so the fans that are booing him because he turned don't end up liking him before the match. And I think too much friction, too much heat could happen very quickly because it just would be awesome. And I agree with you. It would be awesome, but that's not doing the story any services, So we'll see. I mean, I don't know.
But don't you think that the story, this is WrestleMania, right? They didn't start this goodbye tour the night after WrestleMania and then have it end at WrestleMania. right? This is chapter 3 of 12 of the retirement farewell tour. And you're laying out this plan of what this is all going to be. Cody Rhodes is a stepping stone then in what they're trying to do.
Mm-hmm.
They're not, it's all on Cody. You have to build more of what this is with Cena. I'm
I
not
don't
getting
know.
it, man.
I mean, we went we went the last 5 years thinking Cena was never going to turn heel. I just think I'm not going to tell you that you're missing the forest for the trees here, but the fact that we got it at all immediately makes it significantly cooler than the very rote
I do
storylines.
agree with that.
So
I
it's
do
like
agree with that.
I think they're operating on there's a lot of buy-in already there because of the turn. So my big thing about it that's actually getting stale with me, because I've heard these, I'm hearing both sides, that some people really like it, some people really don't. I think it's great for what it is. What I really think needs to start happening is The Rock's got to get back involved. And I don't know if he couldn't make his way to the European run, but what was the point of selling your soul? You can't have The Rock.
Well, but they did mention The Rock. Cody mentioned The Rock.
Sure, but we need to see him in the ring. We can't have two guys who aren't going to make an appearance. And it's great that Cena was able to make 3 Raws in a row. That helps, but you got to think, like, for the first 3 weeks after Elimination Chamber, we didn't see a single one of either of them, and they were just running this heat off of promo packages. So, I think that's the next part, and so I'm continually willing to see what does his reassertion look like? What does that look like? He promised Cody everything and then basically said if he said no, he was going to make his life miserable. Like, what does that look like? Did Cena really need Rock to like turn on Cody in that way? It's like right now, the way they're feuding, the answer is no. So there has to be an element. I'm assuming now that Raw is going to be stateside again in Chicago on Monday. It's in Minneapolis. My apologies. Right? Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. It's hard to say.
It's
somewhere. It's back in America. Well, I was trying to think. I think Raw's on Monday because El Grande Americano, the WWE's new greatest luchador, is wrestling.
Sure. Yeah.
It's a bummer that Chad is sick.
Yeah.
On medical leave.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But
it's just the whole bit of like a American wearing a mask, a red, white, and blue. Like, it's a real original idea.
Yeah.
It's definitely never been done before in the WWE.
I don't know. Feels pretty generico.
Yeah. I don't know. I agree with you on the Rock thing. I just guess I assumed that was going to be. See, the reason why I agree with you is because I think that there's a third man update. A faction is formed at WrestleMania. Yeah. And so The Rock can't be the surprise person that comes out and helps, right? The Rock is going to already be there with his champion in John Cena. And then there's a third person, right? Because this can't just be The Rock and John Cena. There's got to be more people involved, especially because he did and so now everyone's thinking there's got to be one.
Yeah. I mean, Roman could make sense, if we want to spend a couple minutes talking about that contract signing, how CM Punk very clearly was like, this is not my favor. Like, I'm glad that, and they didn't say headlining WrestleMania, like closing out WrestleMania. They said headlining WrestleMania. So it's like, I'm not convinced there isn't a world that CM Punk weasels his way into the WrestleMania Cena Cody promo. There's so much stuff that could still be happening. It's really interesting. And then maybe Reigns is the one, and that makes way more sense about why he would join that faction feeling burned, because he's gotten like, I know he's not been available like outside of the ring, but it's not like they're pushing him really, to be the guy who held down the company. Yeah. To be the guy that held down the company for 8+ years, basically, to come back and your WrestleMania monument sans belt is this like loosely baked, like Rollins, and I just don't think the favor is going to be like Paul Heyman becoming his guy. Like, he's already said to Roman straight to his face, like, hey, you can keep your guy. He still talks to me. You know what I mean? Like, so it's like, I don't think it's just going to be that simple. And I think we've been on here and I've been telling everybody who will listen, like, that favor is as good as a Money in the Bank cash in. Like, it just straight up is. Like, whether you think it's earned or not, like, Paul Heyman, the character, has that kind of sway in the WWE, and they can make it happen. So I think it'll be really exciting.
We'll see.
This is the longest time between pay-per-views since I this every year. It's like this road to WrestleMania is so long. So it's just like, it really does kind of challenge, I think, everyone's like storytelling. Like usually most things aren't building over the course of 5 weeks. It's like 2 weeks. And then we're like getting ready to like resolve it at the pay-per-view event. And especially with like these additions of like Saturday night main event, this is like, it's funny because we're building to probably what would be like the Daytona 500 of wrestling, right? But it's the most stagnant it's felt. And some of these like small little belt changes, like it's just so that way it feels watchable or interesting or earned. But like ultimately,
well, that's why they need to find a way to make the shows, the weekly shows, now have to have more juice to carry it. You can't just have it be more of the continuation, drag you along to WrestleMania. There's got to be more stuff that's going to be used in future packages, not you know, just replaying the stuff from
like to their credit, and then to Drew McIntyre's credit, we talked about it. It's like that promo he cut where he explained how like Damian Priest is like slithered around and like secretly benefited, and then you talk about like that physicality and like coming to blows on the spot where he got dropped through that car. And he claims that he actually got glass in his eye. So I don't know if that's kayfabe or not. That was very much a real car, and they smashed it. So we'll see. But that's like got me that's like a match that's gotten me more excited. We'll see. We're officially now we're getting close enough because obviously it's we're in April, so that card is what 2.5 weeks away. So now all of these like fluttering things, they're going to start making decisions, and then we can really start making decisions like, did this get enough earned? Like, trust me, if they trot Cena and Cody Rhodes out separately or in vignettes for the next 2 weeks, then I'll be right there with you. I'll be like, they need some more friction.
Okay, I do appreciate you saying that. That's a little bit of vindication.
I don't disagree with the point. I just think that like all they have to do is one thing, and then I think you could change your tune. So I'm just willing to wait.
But then just do it. Like, that's
I'm just willing to wait.
Like, do it.
Yeah. But maybe
I know it's there.
As weird as it is, maybe they're waiting for American soil. Like the European fans are so rabid that they could barely speak and get words out. So it's like, save those insane moments for like American audiences where you can get that heat and that pop.
I'm just
not
saying,
like there
TikTok,
isn't heat on it. So
you got 2.5 weeks. TikTok, do something.
Totally.
Yeah. All right.
Well,
I'm very excited for that. I'm excited for the next time we talk to have some positive Wisconsin sports news, because it cannot get worse. Literally. It cannot get worse than it did last week. They did not win a game. So the very worst is they could continue that. But it cannot get worse than that. And we will hopefully have a lot of positive things to talk about with those sports teams and the WWE next time. Thank you, Johnny. Appreciate it. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in and listening to Don't Tell Me How to Fan. We appreciate you as always. And make sure to tune in next time, because we are not done yet.
Yeet.